Up next, unboxing and testing out the Baofeng UV-5R. ijdm starts now.
Meow.
Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
All right, let's get this unboxed. Well, I already did that. Really? Do you really want to watch a grown man unbox something? I mean, I'll save the experience for yourself.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
Basically, what you get in the box is a little manual how to operate it. As soon as you get that manual, go ahead and burn it or toss it away immediately, so you have no idea what you're doing and have to look on the internet for different information on this particular radio. And believe me, there are tons of sources. I'm just doing this just to do it. You've seen a million of these videos, so let's get into it. You get the charger, you get the headset. Okay, yeah, the headset's not great, whatever. You get a little coily cord, you get the antenna, you get the clip, you get a battery. And it's the small little battery. Of course, they do sell the larger batteries. You got basically the button that switches it from FM to ham radio / scanner mode, whatever you want to call it. Your PTT button, which on this particular radio, for some reason, why, and I don't know why it even exists at this point, but you're technically not supposed to use without a ham operator license.
Everybody got that?
On the bottom, you have the monitor button, which basically lets you monitor the channel beyond the squelch when you're scanning, when you're going through different channels. Plug in your thing here for your headset, your battery here, your clip here, your antenna goes here. Yes, it is a detachable antenna, which is why it doesn't make it FCC compliant for GRMS and MERS radio. Got yourself a little LED light, which is done by pushing one of these buttons again. I think it's this bottom one. And then your volume on off switch. And yeah, it's got a nice click to it, I would say. Overall, this radio feels good. I know there's been people that slam it, and hey, y'all want to go crazy in the comments, go ahead, just keep it clean. I mean, you can give the reasons why not. Listen, I understand with the ham radio operators. It's kind of like you had this club, everybody, I guess, was respectful, but now it's kind of like you opened the floodgates and all the crazies are coming in. I get it. I understand. Kind of understand both sides of the story. People don't follow rules, so forth. But really, it's radio airwaves, and it's not like it's a right to use it. It's a privilege to use it. Just keep that in mind with these radios. That being said, for clear disclosure, I did pay for this out of my own money, and also that I do not push the button on the side simply because I do not want anybody showing up my door or anybody saying, hey, what's your code? I do plan on getting a GRMS license eventually. And some legit GRMS radios I can transmit and receive, and maybe going for ham radio operator if this thing will, I guess. I've heard chatter from people talking on this on ham, so there is ham people out there using these things. Don't let them fool you. It's a cheap price point, anywhere between $16 and $25. Beware, when you're buying these things, there is like 30 different versions of it. And of course, that goes along with version 1 of the actual radio, 2, 3, and different firmwares. And then there's also other brands. There's one called something kit, Mir Kit, I believe is what it's called, that I bought. And that radio was awful. It couldn't scan properly. The channels were staticky. It had a flexible antenna on it, which was a little different, but it looked exactly the same, except it said UVR MK4 or 5, which I guess stands for, it's a Mir Kit thing, which I guess increases it to 5 to 8 watts. But I'd rather have, and it's like the Chinese knockoffs are knocking off the Chinese knockoffs, which is really weird. Who saw that one coming? Belt clip's handy. This is kind of handy if you're worried about dropping it. So we'll just go through the rest of the functions. This switches between memory modes and regular channel mode, basically any ones you store in memory. It is compliant with the Chirp software, so you can use it with that. However, programming anything into the air bands, it doesn't like it in Chirp and tends to tell you it's not a correct value, which somebody does need to fix that, because it would be nice to name. That's one thing I do like, listening to some of the air chatter and so forth on that. You got an A/B, which switches from the top screen to the bottom screen. On my particular radio, I have this set for name on top and then frequency on the bottom. Simply just makes it easier for referencing back and forth. And that's pretty much it. You got your keypad here. This is from switching bands from UHF to VHF, which is probably the most useless button because I think it kind of already does that anyways when you're scanning through the channels. Yeah, that's pretty much everything in the nutshell. I think that I didn't really forget anything. Yeah, and then of course there's a little charging port, so you can charge this right on the stand like this. So, yep. And I'm kind of being tongue-in-cheek with this because I've seen plenty of other videos on this, including one guy that does a lot of them, and he's very knowledgeable and very funny with what he does. So kind of giving him a little bit of homage to his videos because they are quite entertaining. And if you don't get his humor, you don't get it. Such a nice little radio. Anyways, yeah, I just pretty much programmed everything in, and then I just sit here and I just like to listen to chatter. My main thing was I kind of started getting interested in picking up something, but it's really nothing. I just kind of been listening to the chatter, listening to lingo, listening to the way people use the radio before I even go for licensing or GRMS licensing or any of that or ham radio, because I'm learning. I'm basically learning the correct way to use it, and it's kind of fun listening to people talk about different radios. It's fun to listen to the air traffic when they're coming in. It's not overly exciting. It's not like I do it 24 hours a day, but it's nice to have on to know what's going on. Every once in a while I'll hear the Coast Guard chirp up and do some kind of rescue, especially on weekends with the idiot boaters and other things like that. It's just kind of a neat thing, and it's fun to listen to the local Spark repeater because you get plenty of chatter that for some reason channel 147 in this particular area is picking up, which is something to do with taxis. I know I put in cab, but something like taxi system or whatever. But it's a nice little radio. You can change the backlights from pretty much an amber color to blue to purple and whatever scheme you want. So I have 3 of these little radios for some reason. I don't know why I bought so many, but it's kind of one of those weird things. But it is kind of neat that just looking at this thing that I just like the construction. I like the rigidity of it and the fact that it's not very bulbous looking. It looks of its time, I guess you could say. Kind of feels like something you buy at Radio Shack in the 80s. But this to me, almost like I'm surprised you don't see these things at what's that store called? Five Below? I'm surprised you don't see those there. I mean, oh man. But that is the Baofeng radio.
I'm sorry, are you saying meow?
But that is the Baofeng radio. I am, again, not going to be hitting the side button there, and I did not hit it just now. Well, maybe I did. I hope I didn't hit it. Oh, no. Well, that'll do it for this ijdm. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to hit that like button. We'll see you next time.